In the meantime, hi everybody. So welcome to this new office hours because it's now 6 p.m. in France, so we'll begin. And as always, feel free to present yourself in the chat. So your proficiency with WeWeb, how long you've been using it, and where you're from. That will be really cool to know. And if you have any questions regarding WeWeb for this office hour, please ask them in the question and answer panel so that we can get them in order. And if needed, we'll invite you on stage to talk about this question or like show us what you've done and what you've built. So yeah, we're just waiting for Flo to set up. Oh yeah, right.
Hi, everyone.
Hey. So hi, Ivan from Uganda, new to WeWeb. Nice. Really cool to see people again from all over the world. We don't have many people today, it seems, but yeah, feel free to ask any question you have in the question and answer panel so that we'll get them. And obviously, these office hours are recorded and the replays will be posted on our YouTube channel. Andreas from Germany just started WeWebbing. I love this expression, WeWebbing. Nice. And Theo has a first question. So, IQ, how could I specify a URL parameter for the redirect URL for user not signed in with the Xano Oauth plugin? Typical use case is for a white label app where I have each of my user connecting to their own dashboard that is identified using a URL parameter. So, to be sure to understand, you've got users that are not signed in using the Xano Oauth plugin, but you want them to be able to join your app. Maybe we'll invite you because I'm not sure to get it. So we'll invite you on stage just to be sure, because I think I get it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure too.
Great. Hey guys.
Hey.
You hear me? Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry that wasn't really clear in the explanation. So I'm gonna try to be a bit clearer. I would share my screen. Here we go. So I'm using the Xano Oauth plugin for my users to log in. But the issue I'm having is that using the plugin, you can only specify a redirection URL without any path or any parameters. Where in my case, since I'm specifying, so for example, where is it? Oh yeah. So I'm using those parameters, the company parameters for each user to actually be able to log into their own dashboard. If for some reason they get kicked out, logged out or whatever, if they end up going back to the login, but without the parameters, so they're not being able to go back to their own dashboard. I don't know if that makes it clearer.
Yeah, you'd like to keep the queries into the URL, right? Yeah. Yeah, right now it would clear everything and just give you the source of the URL the user tried to access. So you could redirect them to the proper page, but you won't have indeed the queries, well, not the queries, the variables into the class. Okay, so it means if you wish to keep this information, you need to do a front-end redirection and not a back-end redirection. So it means that your pages need to be public. So in the private access, you need to toggle true. So this one is for everyone because it's your login page, but for example, on your admin dashboard, you would need to allow everyone to have it.
Okay.
So if you do that, it means that you need to add a workflow on page load, or maybe it's easier for you to do it at the app level. Maybe it's your call. Both work.
Okay. Yeah.
So we trigger workflow here, and depending on the rule you are going to have, you redirect the user to the login page. So it means that for security reasons, all the data you add to your dashboard basically can be read by anyone. So it means all the secure data needs to come from your endpoints in Xano if you do that. Let me think about a better solution. Give me 1 second. So something, okay, you can do something better. So I guess this is something that happens when the user is not logged anymore, right?
Yeah.
So so for the first time he goes to login and then he logs in. So I guess you need to add a variable and you will save this variable into local storage.
Yeah.
So you need a company variable, for example.
Yeah. So I would do that at the login stage. As soon as I log in, then I save
Yeah,
the
just after
variable.
on the dashboard page, for example, the first time
Okay.
they come.
Okay.
So this one, yes, on that page. And what you can do is to create a new variable. So in data, maybe it's better for this to do it like this. So let's wait for. Okay, perfect. In here, you create a new variable. Let's call it company. And for that one, the type would be text. And you need to save in local storage. Okay, perfect. Now on your dashboard workflows, so you can go to your page and on page load, yes, perfect. Here and in here you can create. Well, I don't know what this workflow is doing, but okay. And in
I'm not
here,
sure I'm using it anymore, but I'll just create a new one.
okay. And in here you can add an action, so change variable value in here. And what you would do is you would initialize your variable, so company, with the data you have into your URL. So you would bind it to where
The
is it?
ID.
Where? Yeah.
So now, maybe because you don't have a parameter into the dashboard, but you would need company ID maybe.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, this one. Perfect. Yes, it's here. Perfect. So you would do that. And so what's going to happen? So you can test that. And every time a user will log in, this variable will be updated. So now on the login page, even if when the user is redirected, this information will be in local storage. So anytime the user is going to come back to your application, this variable will be your browser will remember this. So on the login page, you should have access to this information without having to get it from somewhere else. So in here, what you can do is to look for this variable.
So using a workflow.
Yes, I don't know what you wish to do because you redirect the user to somewhere else, or you need to display the company name, for example, in here. What do you want to do?
No, I'm using the company to actually change the colors, but it's not a big deal at this stage. I just want to make sure it's actually registering the right company for my Xano calls for the logins. So I just want to make sure the URL, this variable, this parameter there gets set right. So should I do a workflow that change that parameters in time, or should I change my code there?
Yes, but you will have this information. You will have this idea in here. So you could, I guess, you have a call on the login page to get the colors or something like this.
Yeah.
So in here,
I think
you should use this. And what you can do is to look for this value into your parameters, like you did. And if this value isn't defined, use the one in local storage. and so the workflow would be the same for you.
Okay, yeah, okay, I get it. And then, yeah.
You can just you know, with a split branch or just with a formula to check the value of the variable, and then you can keep the same workflow. Yes, and in here you can type in or. So now like this it won't work. Now it's the
Yeah, I know.
command line.
I'll find it.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, this one. And or and you take the variable from the local storage. So the company you just created.
And this one should be available.
I think it's the
There,
first one
I
from
guess.
No, it was on
No. Yeah.
the first tab. Yeah.
Oh, is it okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
here. The
From
second
project,
one,
yeah.
the green one. Yes, this one.
Okay, yeah, sweet.
And so now you will always have something, I think.
Okay, so that's good. So I didn't know I could use that formula
Yes,
like
that's the
that.
trick.
If there is nothing set for the first one, then it's gonna pick up the
You
second
take the
one.
second one, yes. That's a JavaScript
Yeah.
trick.
If you want to avoid if it's programming, basically you can use n or to check because if you don't have anything, it's falsy, so it will go to the next one, for example.
Right. Yeah, cool. Even with the undefined values or
Yes.
Undefined is falsy also in JavaScript, yeah.
awesome. Well, that fixes my issue. Then yeah, really cool. Thank
Great.
you.
Nice.
You're welcome.
No worries. See ya then. Have a great day.
Yeah, sure. You too. I'll stick around to see if someone else has some interesting issues today.
Yeah.
Great.
Sure.
And feel free to post something else if you need.
Okay, new question from Steve. I'm worried about sending too much data to the browser. Are there any guidelines about how much is too much? Also, how can I monitor how much I'm sending? So I don't think there's clear guidelines because it depends on your end user's broadband and device. What's sure is that if you're sending many gigabytes, it will be too much, but there's no really clear guidelines because no computers are getting so powerful that you can store quite a lot of data. But to monitor how much you're sending, you can use the developer tools to do this. And with the network tab, and I think we've got a course on how to optimize the app in the academy. We made a video on this.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we've got that. Let me check.
What you can keep in mind is that if you just have data, you can add a lot of them, really. But usually you are constrained with what you are displaying. I mean, the browser will explode because you are displaying too much things. So that's the first thing. But if it's just data, you need to do some lookups inside. You can add a lot of it. But after that, it's better to do the work on the backend side to send as less data as you can, just for mobiles, for also having less data, between your computer and the server. It consumes less energy also. So it's a good practice to try to load only what you need to display, basically. So try as much as you can to really load only what you need. It's a good practice. So there is no like you said, there is no figure. It depends on your computer, basically. So as long as your browser is not crashing, you can load and try on a bad computer. But yes, usually you don't have to load that many things, and it's better to have multiple calls sometimes just to load what you need at the proper moment on the page with the proper pop-up. When your user clicks on something, it's better to do another call than having one call with everything.
Yeah. Because I would say that JSON is just text, so at the end of the day, it's really small. You can have millions of JSON lines, and it will be really small still in the browser. What would be more harmful is having complex computations in the browser. like doing many computations that need to wait for each other, so that because you're blocking the browser then. So this, I would do this on the back end. And storing huge files. I mean, if you store a huge CSV or image, like if you do multiple of them, yeah, it's huge. But like basically what you get from most backends are just JSON, and JSON are really, really small, to be honest. And yeah, I sent you the second part of the academy because there's many tutorials from Joyce that are not actually only this, but like how to optimize using, for example, pagination is a good strategy to optimize what you're loading from the backend. As Flo said, maybe you don't need to load everything. If you have already a collection, maybe you can do a lookup, or, you know, like remove some fields if you have like many fields in your table.
Or
I mean,
filter.
yeah.
Update
So,
a filter and refetch
yeah.
the collection with the proper filter.
Yeah, exactly. So it really depends. But yeah, like most of the time displaying, and it's not just loading data, it's also, as Flo said, how you display it. Because if you have millions of rows, what will be really hard for the browser is actually displaying all of them and constructing all the divs and the HTML tags, but not loading all this data. That's why pagination is really powerful for this. Yeah. Okay, we have a new question from Luke. Hi, Q and Flo, welcome back. Q, hope you had a nice trip. Couple questions. Yeah, thanks. Lacking a bit of snow at the end, but yeah, that was cool. One, is there a way to have different languages available for our front end, like WeWeb Editor as the drop-down option? Yeah, there is.
Many of them. Okay,
Yeah,
you can go on stage and we're going to show you how to add
yeah. Okay, let's invite Luke. But yeah, basically we have the language options in the editor and per page.
I'm like 3 for 3 weeks in a row. I get on stage.
Hey.
It's a flow as well. Sorry, I just saw your message back. Thank you for the follow-up from last week. I was at a conference, so I didn't get to chance to look at that yet. But yeah, so I saw like the option with the drop down. So say if I wanted Arabic, do I need to like I didn't really get with the documentation, so you need to like turn it on and then change certain parts of it. I didn't totally get that.
Okay, can you share your screen? We can quickly do it
Oh,
together.
yeah.
Sure.
I thought I was sharing screen. Sorry about that.
Okay, great. So okay, perfect. You are in here. So if you need to add more languages, you can go to, yes, you can go here, add a language. So in here you would have two. So it's the global, so it's in here you have two things. You've got project languages, so you need to add for all the project, and then on each pages you need to connect them too. So once you did that, what you, in the elements you should have a ready-made element, I think, if you click add on the top. I think if you type in language in a search, if you, yes, this one should work.
Where is it?
Yeah.
Kind of like that right now. So is that gonna be like a drop down that
So if you select it, in here you should have in the settings some things, I think, in the second tab.
In the second tab, in the settings tab, yeah.
Here and normally, yeah, normally this one is kind of magic. It's going to look at the available languages, and you can basically select what you need. And if you click this toggle, I think you will have an empty div on the left if you wish to add a flag, for example, or something like this. But you can build it yourself if you prefer. If you want to create your own select elements, you should have access to an action to do that. And I think the action is something like change languages, something like this. So if you can just create a workflow just quickly on anything, you know. Normally you should have a change language action.
Ah,
Yes. And in here, you can just change the language. You can bind, for example, if you want to do it to add some logic or something like this. But this is how you can change the language basically. So
so
if you
it's going to change everything on the page, or now I need to link like every text box to
yes,
that?
yes. No,
Oh,
the language will be changed. In the DOM, you will have the new language set, and then on your text, for example, if on courses here, if you select the text in addition, yes, in here, if you go to the style tab, you see in here you've got no, you don't. Maybe you need to enable Arabic on that page too.
oh,
So you need to yes toggle this one, and you see on the right you've got two
Bindings.
so usually what the best thing is to yes you can do it like this, or you can have a table in your backend with all your translations, and so then you can bind to the proper row, to the proper column for this. So if one day you wish to add another language, it's easy to do.
So it's not going to like automatically translate it for us. You have to have
No.
it to the
No,
back end.
you do it yourself. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Someday, but not now. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Do you have a
This is
a
one.
plugin like a service in mind to do the translation? Because we've been talking to Wiglot, which is known for Webflow website, but if you have something else in mind, maybe like to do
I
the translation.
haven't looked at it yet.
Okay.
You said what was the name of it? If you mind putting in the chat.
Wiglot. Oh, sorry. WEGLOT. But the thing is, it doesn't work by default with JavaScript apps. So we'll need to create a plugin for this because it mostly works with static websites.
Exactly. So it will be a bit different for us with them. But right now you can do it like this.
Okay.
For the basics. And yes, maybe this is an AI feature we could do this here.
That'd be sweet.
Translate your application automatically.
That's awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. And then I think the second question in that, so to give a little bit more context rather than reading it. So say for example, if I clicked on one of these courses, I need to log out and log back in. But essentially what's happening is, on a video player, if they hit play, for the first time, it's going to create a new row in like this tracker table in Xano. Obviously creating a unique ID every single time. And then from the result from that API, I'm gonna get that unique ID for that row, and I'm just putting it into a variable, because then when the video completes, I don't want to create a new row in the table. I have two columns. They're both Booleans, started, completed. So obviously the first action is going to create the row with all the information and check off started as true. And then when it's completed, it's another API. It's going to grab that ID from the variable and then just mark completed as true. I was just wondering if that's the best way to approach that problem, like assigning it to a front end variable for them to pick up on a second API. Did that make sense?
Yes, it does. So what you want to do is to track how users watch the videos, right? So, and I guess so yes, in here. Okay, so on play.
It's just a filter, so it doesn't every single time.
I think I would do this on the back end, like creating a specific endpoint in Xano that will do the request maybe to the DB or like the API, and also then we'll do also the request to the API maybe. Like if I'm right, or I don't know. Like you need to do an API call and then wait to call another API.
Yeah, so it's one just starting the task, like I want to know if they started it, and then just pulling that ID forward on the front end. I didn't know if there was another way to do that, because it's going to send another API when they actually finish the video or task or whatever it may be.
Well, it's nice to have two workflows. I mean, make a call when it starts and make another call when it ends.
Yeah.
It's better. Maybe what you
Slow.
can I don't remember all the triggers we have natively in the video elements, but you can maybe track the advancement every I don't know, something like every 20 seconds, maybe something on play, on pause, on end.
Yeah, I think like overall the way it's structured now is the way I want it, like to be able to track when they start it and complete it. I think the main thing I was just curious about is like, is this the best approach to be, because it's only identifying that exact row with assigning it to a variable, so that
No, it's actually, you need to have give me 1 second.
Yeah.
So yes, I would create a row on a table called something like user lessons. And for users lessons completed, something like this. And every time they start a new video, I would create a new row, and then I would update only that row.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this is what you did. So this is the good approach. And a good practice is to add, but it depends on what you want to do, but also to add a button for the user complete video, because sometimes they don't go to the last 20 seconds and they still want to make it complete. But it depends if you want to force them to see all the videos. So it's a business decision, but usually it's a good practice when you don't want to specially force them, just to have this button mark as complete, for example, and then you trigger your end workflow.
Yeah, exactly. No, that sounds great. And then for the variable itself, like that, pulling that ID for that exact row, is it best to have it save in local storage or not? Like I'm concerned with like they start it and then they go away from the website. Like I don't know if it'd be best to keep it in local storage or not, because I don't want to like lose that. I mean, I guess they can just create another one and you don't have to worry about saving it in local storage, but
No, I don't think you need to save it in local storage. Why would you need that? If they go away and they comes back to, I mean, what is task ID?
it's that would be the new row in the table.
Okay. I know you. I would not do that. I think every time on page load, I would call an endpoint with your user, your lesson ID, and I would check for a task ID.
Okay.
I would check for it, and every time you go to a new lesson, you check you get the current one if it exists, and you don't even need it on the. I think I wouldn't care on the front end side about this. I think I would have a workflow, just update video, and you would send user ID, lesson ID, and then on the back end, you would check for a task ID if it exists. If it exists, you update it. If it doesn't, you create it.
I see. Okay.
I would do something like this.
Makes sense. All right. Thank you for that. The last one was just I submitted like a bug report for PDF viewer. So if I go to this disclaimer comes up, it's fine if I publish this like to production for desktop, but on iPhone and tablet, it'll say like I have an error where, if I can show the screenshot, this browser does not support inline PDFs. Please download the PDF to view it. And then it doesn't actually give like an option to download the PDF. And I've tried it on multiple different browsers and so forth. I did get a response in terms of trying to use like HTML element with an iframe. I don't know if that's the best option. Right now, I've just done like a temporary fix to just download the PDF. But
Okay, well, if you created a ticket, I think the tech team will take care of it, but
Yeah.
just to make sure. So you displayed the PDF, right? What you
It does display, like if I went onto
but
the,
when you try to download it, right?
this is what comes up for tablet and iPhone. Like there is no way to download it. It just comes up with this.
Ah, okay. You can view it on an iPhone and tablets. Okay.
Pretty sure it's Safari,
Yeah.
which is doing something different than other browsers again.
And also on Chrome as well.
Safari, Chrome, yeah, but Chrome is using Safari when you're using an iOS device under the hood.
Yeah, it's just a wrapper, but behind the scene, it's Safari.
I forgot about that.
Okay, so right now I don't know. We need to have the tech team to take a look, and if you created a ticket, they should do it. So
okay, sounds good. All right, thank you guys so much. As always, I appreciate it. A nice new background flow. Switching it up, I like. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great day. See you.
Bye.
Okay, so apparently Blake answered his own question while we were answering Luke. So I will remove your question, Blake. And then another question from Steve. I have segmented my data into 13 groups, Supabase query, and fetch by page. Is there a way to release and fetch? This is really broad, so we'll also invite you.
We'll have to step in to show you, to show us what you do with your data, and you can talk.
Hopefully I can help because I've been playing with Supabase all day long.
I'm gonna start video.
Hey.
Hi guys. Bear with me, it's my first time. Okay. So I was the guy who had the question about, I'm worried about blowing up the user's browser. So let me show you very quickly my application here. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm building a mentorship application for physical therapists, and it's much like the the WeWeb Training Academy. I'm showing videos, just like Luke. I have, I'm measuring completions by end user. Oh, I haven't logged in. That's why I haven't no completions right now. But what I'm kind of worried about is that I have over 500 episodes that I show, and here are the here are the groups that they're all in. But an episode can have a significant amount of information that is hard to figure out. I can't predict how much actually there'll be. It's not a consistent thing because there's a lot of variable text. There's an overview. There are resources that, for each lesson, there are resources. The user can create notes and save those notes. So that's all variable. And then there's also a discussion forum. If I logged in, this would make more sense, but they can post things for their mentor. They can post things for the group they're going through, their mentor, blah, 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 lots of data.
Okay.
And so what I'm thinking, when I fetch this data, well, when I select a module to view it, I get all this information. I now know there's a better way to do this. I'm going to fetch a record and do it by an object. But what I'm worried about is if I download, all of the data for all of these episodes, a user works in one of these areas at a time. They'll only work in communications essentials, and they'll see all the episodes for that or any of these. So what I was thinking about to kind of put my fear of blowing up the user's browser out of my mind, if I could, is two different strategies. One, I don't want to fetch all 500 episodes with all this, variable data. So I've created a bunch of Supabase queries that fetch just the data for the topic area.
Okay.
And if I and so when I pick this from the menu and load up my table of contents, I was going to do a fetch just to get that data. And then when I'm done with it, does it go away? Do I unfetch it? I mean, what happens?
Okay, so let me answer you. So the best way is to do it with only one collection, and you change what you put into the query information. So do you have a collection for this, or are you doing only workflows and fetching data into workflows?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand exactly your
So
question.
could you show me the data sidebar on the left? Could you click on data?
Sure.
Yes, here. And yes, you do have collections here. So can you select one of them, one of the episodes? Okay, so now can you show me the configuration?
Here.
So, okay, so do you have a different table for each episode?
Yes, I've created a query for each, not for each episode, well, for each group of episodes.
Okay.
So everything for cervical spine is all in one group. So that's going to be about 40 episodes or so. Communication Essentials is about 20 episodes.
So it's another table or a column in the table?
View, I think.
It's a query in Supabase. I have
query,
all of my episodes in one table, and then each table has its own query that just selects that group of episodes on the back end.
So let's so do you have some specific logics to create those group, or
they're right here. Let's see.
Can you show us the
Oops. Let's see. Where's trying to find, okay, here are my tables. So here's episodes, and then I've got all of these different queries that segment the data. And I only pick what I was thinking of doing was, picking this query when I'm doing cervical spine. So if I come back to WeWeb, that loads this.
Okay, perfect. I just want to check something before giving you a solution. Can you show us the SQL to create those views? On this, I think you use the SQL editor, something like this.
Here?
Yeah, and just to check if you add some specific SQL lines to create those views on the.
Oh, you want to see the SQL that does it?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay, so you select everything from episodes and from episode. Okay, perfect. So can you go back to WeWeb?
Okay. By the way, guys, can I just say how great it is that you do this? It's like it's so amazing that that this resource exists. I'm just amazed. It's just wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So
enough being nice. Fix my problem, will you?
So can you go back to the editor?
Yeah. Oh, wait, that was okay. Yeah.
Perfect. And now can you create a new collection? We are going to try something.
Okay.
So can you call it episode? Or you will be able to change it later. And in the source, select Supabase, dynamic. Perfect. Click continue. And in the configuration, select the table with all your everything, all your episodes. The episodes, yes, this one. You can keep guided for now. And we could optimize it later. And then in here, you've got query configuration. So the query configuration, basically, you can add filters in here, and it's a backend filter. So basically, the browser will send a request to Supabase, and you will receive only the filtered data.
Okay.
So in here, you can click filter, and you can add a condition. And this is basically the condition you change when you created each view. So let's try to do one. So for example, what did you, yeah, series.
Oops, maybe I like communication. Okay.
Yep.
So now you see you've got a bind icon just on the left of communications essentials. You see that one?
Yep.
We are going to use that one. So what you can do is to create a variable. So on the left, on the variable list in here, you can create a new one and call it, it was series. So selected, yeah, perfect. By default, you can add this one just for the test. So it's a text. You need to select the type before, sorry. Yeah, I'm afraid it's
Oops. Oops.
yeah, maybe copy paste it because when you will select it, sometimes we refresh this default value. I'm afraid it disappears.
Oh, go from, wait a minute, go back.
No, you can just select the type. You need to select just before the default value.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Okay.
yes,
Yeah. That.
Okay, nice. You can click create, and now we need to go back to the collection.
Okay. Let's see. Communication.
Was
I got to figure out which one it is.
The first one, episode. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
release.
episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's go back to the filter. So it's on the create configuration here. Perfect. And now click this one, the bind icon, and now bind it to the variable we just created.
Yeah. And basically what Flow is trying to make you do is that you will be able to change this variable when the user changes categories, and you will just have to do a fetch collection, and the collection will be replaced with the proper filter in real time. So yeah.
Perfect. That's perfect. And yeah, I guess I really don't have to worry about it. I don't have to really unfetch or release it because when the user picks a new one, it gets reset.
Exactly. A collection gets every time you fetch it, it gets reset.
Perfect.
Like the only difference is that if you are using variables to store this data, then you will need to clear these variables sometimes. But if it's a collection, every time you fetch it, it will be replaced with the new data.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Great. That'll let me sleep at night.
Nice.
And so you just have to create only one page, bind to the collection, and then on the sidebar, just change the value of this variable, like Q said, refetch the collection, and that's done.
That's just awesome. It's sort of amazing, you can kind of do anything in WeWeb, but there's also like really smart ways to do the things that,
Exactly,
I was going to build 13 pages. Now I only have to build one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
Well, great to like it.
No worries.
Thank you.
And one thing on what we maybe presented to Steve, I want to emphasize, and something we're trying to educate everybody in the academy or like in the tutorials, is the don't repeat yourself framework. It's because WeWeb and Supabase, Xano, they are like close to coding. It's really easy to redo the same things over and over again. But at the end, what you should do is try to like reuse workflows, queries, variables all the time, and try not to redo stuff twice. That's how you optimize most of the time. And this is something we are trying to educate people to, because yeah, this is basically algorithmic thinking.
Yeah, that's really a good practice to do that.
Mo is asking a question. So same question every week.
Yeah, I think
when it will be possible to emit variables from components and trigger a workflow externally from a component. So yeah.
So, okay, let me tell you a secret. Normally, it should come on Thursday. if the tests are going well tomorrow. So on Thursday, we should release this feature.
Yeah, so you will be able to emit get variables from internal variables from component, their value back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sorry, I just realized that questions were not public in Zoom. I still need to get used to this. So people were not seeing the questions, but this will be released
Yes,
really soon.
you will be able to expose your internal variable on Thursday normally. In worst scenario, next week. But I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to release it on Thursday.
Nice. We don't have any more questions. So if you have any question, feel free because we still have 10 minutes. Surprise announce. Nice. Yeah, there will be many things in this release, but you'll see this pretty soon. And also after this release, I will be doing a live with Joyce to present to you like the new Supabase SDK, because we updated the plugin and we have many new actions. Maybe you saw that on the social media, but you're now able to use like invoke edge functions, Postgres functions, the storage, and do bulk actions. So yeah. Theo is asking, what about the animation feature?
This is a good question. So we have in beta a keyframe editor. So if you send me a private message in the community, Theo, I could give it to you. And right now we are not satisfying enough with this interface because you really need to know keyframes to make it work. So this is why we don't want to release it too quickly because we want it to be a bit easier to use. So it still need more work to do on our part, but we are pretty close, but I don't know yet when we are going to release it for everyone. So because we need to revamp a bit the experience to initialize and work with those keyframes. But for those who knows how to use those keyframes, who are not afraid of it, just reach out to me in the community with a direct message, and I would give you normally an access if it's still available. Need to check with the tech team, but normally I should be able to give you this access.
Nice. Blake is asking, does real-time data with Supabase slow anything down on the front end? No, it shouldn't.
No.
Because it's like WebSocket, so normally it's really optimized for this. So it shouldn't. Mo, any update on Iconify?
So this is a good one. So yes, we need to revamp basically how we manage icons. So it's going to take us a bit of time, but I know for yeah, no, we're gonna just add more icons for now, but for Iconify, I'm sorry, Mauro, but you're gonna have to wait a bit more because we really want to revamp how we manage icons, and so it's more than expected on our side.
Yeah, I think the icons feature is one of the oldest in WeWeb, so it needs to be reworked.
What library would you like to see, Zachary?
And in the meantime, Mark is asking, any news on Xano real time? I think they are in beta or close to it. I think we had some news from their team, but I'll let Flo answer because basically we're in contact with the Xano guys, obviously.
Yeah.
And they began to work on it, yeah, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Yes, they are working on it currently. So we should, I hope we should be able to have an access on our side pretty soon. So we could work on the integration, so you could basically manage this. So I think it's going to be more triggers that you're going to be able to use and to do whatever you want when you receive the event, like refetching a collection, some data, or updating something. But I'm pretty confident we're going to have it on February if their tests are going well and on their side and our side. But you could expect it for the end of February, I think.
Yeah, depends on them mostly right now because they're still early building the feature.
This is a guess. Don't take it personally
Yeah.
if I'm wrong.
So you can ask them during the office hours because I think they're just after hours. But yeah. Steve, you have a dark mode post on the community. Today, Joyce talked about using library variables. Is there a reason to choose one approach over another? I
Okay,
think
so
library variables, they are like, it's more tidy, maybe. Tidier, yeah.
okay, let me show you something. I've got a little surprise for you.
Those surprises at the end.
Surprise day.
Yeah, especially because Zachary is asking about the Figma plugin, so maybe this is linked to.
So
Not
Figma,
yet.
so we are going to have two releases. So the first one is coming. You're going to be able to import colors and typographies from your Figma. Again, for this one, we do have no, not anymore. It's a beta access for importing elements, but this one is coming later. So pretty soon. By pretty soon, I mean maybe at
Tomorrow.
week. You're going to be able to import typographies and colors, and I think in February we are going to add another feature to import elements. So depending on how well you use the layout into Figma, you're going to be able to import things in Figma. You're going to be able to tag buttons, select input, and basically all the basic elements. And so when you import it, it's going to use the WeWeb elements behind. And we want to do a bit more to be able to tag with your own components. So when you import it, it will use the components from your library. So you could iterate on Figma and then still use your WeWeb elements behind the scene. So we are working on it, right? Okay, so let me just grab my editor.
I'll just answer tomorrow in the meantime, because any intentions on integrated with SQLite. So SQLite is actually a really small database that only works on mobile devices or locally on computer. So it won't work with the WeWeb editor because we need a server to connect to a backend, and SQLite only works locally. So it works if you create a server on top of it, but basically SQLite is just like a small file on your computer. So that's why when we'll do mobile features in the future, maybe we'll integrate it. But I mean, we'll need a way so that it works locally. So I would suggest using Postgres or MySQL servers right now.
Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yep.
So this is the surprise that is coming. So like I said, maybe something around this. But now with
Light and dark.
you're gonna have this. So no need to use the post anymore and the objects with the CSS variables to do that. You're gonna be able to add different values for your tokens. And then you're gonna be able on the settings here to add a background color for your application and a default theme for your application. Then you're gonna have a nice action to just switch your theme. So to change it to another one, to the dark mode or to the light mode. And we are going to create a ready-made element so you don't have to do the workflow, but you will have access to this action to do whatever you want with it. So then you're going to be able to bind something. You're going to have access to the value of the theme on your browser variable. So this one is the name is going to is going to change, but you're going to have this value here, and and then you're going to be able to bind anything in here with your colors to your token, and depending on the value in here, it will change automatically. So you're going to be able to add more values to your to all your tokens. I hope you like it.
They're saying, nice, is it me or you're releasing features faster and faster? We try to. And I was answering tomorrow. So yeah, if you use SQLite with a server like a service like you were mentioning, they probably have an API, so you just have to use the API plugin. And if they're using SQL, SQLite is like MySQL or PostgreSQL. It's the same way to connect and to use SQL, so you can use the SQL plugin normally. But yeah, if it's hosted, it should work, because normally SQLite is not hosted on a server, so I didn't know about these tools. Nice.
Yeah, in STO. It's not fast enough. Never.
Okay, I think we're good for today. So feel free to ask us anything on the community, in the chat, and otherwise we'll see each other for the office hours next week, same day, same time. And also, again, if you have really, I would say, beginner's question, now we do onboarding sessions with Joyce. So it's also on Tuesdays, but it's 2 hours before office hours. So it's 4 p.m. Paris time. I don't remember the time in the US, but I think it's something like 10 a.m. East Coast. So if you want to join to ask more basic questions or of a better understanding of how WeWeb works, feel free to join the onboarding sessions. And any plans to add MongoDB? So just jQuery MongoDB doesn't have any schema, so it's really hard to use. So that's why you should use an API to use it, because we don't know the schema beforehand, so it's really hard to know which data we'll get back in your collections. And thanks, Theo. Yeah, tomorrow, big release. So the editor will be down most of the morning in Europe. So US it will be really early. Hopefully you should be able to work. And I don't know if you saw the message, but there will be a small downtime if you are using the IP whitelisting for your apps, because we'll need to switch this IP from our old servers to new servers, and this will take 15 minutes. So sorry for this. It's actually something on Amazon side, so we can't do anything about it. But normally, if you're not using IP whitelisting, your apps are safe. Otherwise, there will just be down 15 minutes. Sorry for this.
So tomorrow, Marwan, no features. It's really an infrastructure improvement. The features are coming on Thursday only.
Yeah, because we'll need to improve the infrastructure to be able to scale better and also bring you new features.
Exactly.
So
you
yeah,
for example, choose the region, those kind of things.
So yeah, for you it will be invisible, but it's a huge step for WeWeb, actually. So see you, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.